Hey everybody, my name is Nadia. I'm a UK Global Talent Visa recipient and coach. In this video, I want to talk about how you can file an appeal if your application for the UK Global Talent Visa endorsement just got rejected. First of all, don't give up. Very often appeals work if they were written correctly and also if your application was prepared well in the first place. An appeal is actually a free and quite straightforward process. It's not rocket science. You don't really have to hire a lawyer or a coach to help you with that. Although, of course, you can if you want to make sure that you're doing everything correctly and if you want to speed things up. In this video, I want to describe the exact steps you need to take in order to prepare the appeal on your own. In my experience, if you prepared your application on your own, if you prepared it well, you can figure out how to write an appeal quite easily too. So what is an appeal? It's actually nothing more than just filling out a PDF form with 4 sets of boxes, right? So the first box would be the rejection reason that technician sent over to you, and then the next box will be for you to argue why they made a mistake, and that's it. That's the whole appeal process. When you get rejected, you receive an email with a pro forma attached to it where there will be a detailed explanation for the reasons why your application got rejected. This is the first document that you need. And the second document that you need is this PDF form for filing your appeal. To prepare an appeal, you just need a Google document with a very simple table with 2 columns. So on the left will be basically what they said, and on the right, what you said in your application. The whole idea of the appeal is that you cannot submit any new information, any new facts, any new evidence. You just have to work with what you've already sent over. This is why it's really important to prepare your application well initially and make sure that all of the information, all of the accomplishment that you have are already in the initial application, because you can't add anything new at this stage. Maybe you forgot to include something, maybe something new happened since you applied. However, you can't really mention it now. To mention new information, you have to file a new application, right? So with an appeal, we're just working with what you already sent over to technician. And the idea is to highlight certain things that you think they maybe didn't take into consideration. Maybe you think that they misunderstood certain ideas about your application. And your goal is to highlight those things and make it clear that actually you were worthy of the endorsement. Once you have this table, open your rejection pro forma and copy paste the rejection reasons that the technician assessor sent over to you. Let's say you will have 4 or 5 rejection reasons, right? For instance, a very common rejection reason for mandatory criterion would be that you don't have a sustained international or national recognition and you don't have public speaking engagements or international awards. Let's say that this is what they said, and this is what they actually say in most of the rejections. So you copy paste it and you put it into your table in the first box. This will be something on the left, and then on the right, this will be the place for what you actually submitted in your endorsement application. You do this for all of your rejection reasons. You fill out this table on the left, and then you go over your whole application really carefully from top to bottom, and you reread it, and you copy paste things from your application that are relevant for the rejection reasons. For instance, they say you don't have any public talks and you actually have a document where you've spoken at a conference. You can make a note saying that you spoke at event XYZ with an audience size of 300 people. You do this for every reason for rejection that you received from technician. Sometimes you need to go through your application a couple of times even to get everything there, because honestly, if it's a big application, it's easy to miss certain things. You don't always see ideas from the first read, right? Maybe you have forgotten some parts of the application if it's been some time since you applied. So take your time. I recommend maybe doing it over a period of 1 to 2 days. Obviously, if you still can afford to wait, if you still have time to file your appeal, it makes for a more efficient appeal. So you fill out this form. Once it's filled out, there will probably be too much content for the form. So this is the part where you edit it, where you will make sure that the text that you write will fit into the boxes that technician provides for their appeal form. You can always double check if those things fit. And this is the process where you'll be editing out unnecessary things. The form provides boxes that are quite limited in space. I see this limitation as a good thing because it really forces you to think of what matters, like what is your main argument that you met this criteria, right? Do you actually need to write a massive essay for the assessor to convince them that a certain thing that you've done is really influential? If your application was very clear, if you explained everything in it, if things were done properly the first time you applied, you don't need an essay at this point. You just need to highlight things that you feel didn't get the correct attention. Once you made sure that everything fits in the form, you copy-paste the text into the form, you fill out all of the other information in it. This will be your basic information, and then you email the appeal form to Home Office with your application number and your name. That's it, right? So it's a super straightforward process. I've seen a lot of people do it successfully on their own. I've helped some people review their appeals and kind of fine-tune it, but in reality, it's not rocket science. Provided that your application initially was structured, appeals do tend to work. I've also seen cases where people reached out to me with their rejected applications and asked me to help them with their appeal. And initially, I told them that I don't really see how the appeal will change the decision because there were issues with their application and the rejection pro forma was quite fair. So I didn't really see a way how an appeal would help. Still, we drafted a very concise and clearly written appeal, and it worked. So obviously an appeal can't really make miracles, but I do think it's worth writing it and filing it. Even if your appeal doesn't work, nothing bad happens really. So you will get additional feedback on your application. Most likely this will be something extra, something that the first rejection didn't mention. This will be helpful for you to really understand what was wrong with your application and also make decisions and take steps that will help you overturn this decision in the future. If you got rejected, please don't despair. Do file an appeal if you believe that it makes sense to do it. If you need any help with filing your appeal after you get rejected, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description box, but also remember that you don't really need me or a lawyer to do it in most cases, and you can just file an appeal on your own. If you need help with preparing your application so that the chances of the rejection are as low as possible, also feel free to get in touch. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.